It's Monday, November 29. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the Jamaican constitution will be reviewed next year. He made the announcement on Sunday at the Jamaica Labour Party's annual conference. He explained that the country's crime situation is one of the factors which have led to a need for review.
The announcement comes just days after Senate President Tom Tavares Finson called for a review of the constitutional requirement for the opposition's support to extend a state of emergency. The Prime Minister addressed the recent Senate vote against states of emergencies at this time, suggesting the outcome was a sign of the increasing numbness to crime.
In the short term, the government has a responsibility to preserve life. We have a responsibility to preserve life. And yes, there are constitutional issues to be debated. I tried to put in place the measure which the Constitution allows us to use to bring immediate relief to the innocent, to the victims, who no one seems to remember in the debate, who is always forgotten. No one remembers them. They become a statistic that we just move on to the next. A part of the numbness of our society. That we can now be at the point where 1,300 murders is not considered an emergency. It is not urgent. It is not something that we should dedicate the...
He says the use of violence when disciplining our children is a factor in criminal behavior.
I can tell you already that one of the things that they have been looking at is how we discipline our children. And the use of violence in discipline is only creating a vicious circle where violence becomes generational. So the modern Jamaica can't continue with that. We have to break that.
He spoke of additional legislation to enhance national security.
We will bring the Enhanced Security Measures Bill that is being developed. That will come early in January. The Bail Act. We have wrestled with this because the issue of the rights of the individual, even a criminal has rights. The Firearms Act, I personally got involved in this because I believe at the heart of the problem is the easy access to the gun. Our current law is structured to treat with legal firearms. The current law assumes that you have the firearm legally, that it came into the country legally. That's not the case. The problem that we have in Jamaica is the inflow, a mass unregulated inflow of unregistered light arms and weapons from post-war countries and from our big trading partners to the north.
Prime Minister Holness says his administration will be working on laws with stiffer penalties for those found with illegal guns and illegal arms dealers as well.
There needs to be stiffer penalties for those people who import the weapon, who provide the weapons to the killers, who lock the weapons, who use them to intimidate people. There should be the harshest penalties for them. They should start at the highest level. They shouldn't get automatic, bargaining, plea bargaining. No. Those who perpetrate this should face the most severe consequence. Now, there is a view sometimes held that man have the gun to defend himself. And so sometimes people get light sentences because they are able to say, well, the gun is there for my defense. That must be rejected.
He says legislation is coming for those prisoners found in possession with communication devices.
Jamaica has, with immediate effect, imposed restrictions on travelers from a number of African countries following the emergence of the new variant of concern for the SARS-CoV-2, initially identified as B11529. The countries are Botswana, Eswatini, formerly Swaziland, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa and Zimbabwe. According to the Health Ministry, all persons who are not citizens or permanent residents of Jamaica and who have visited the listed countries within the last 14 days will not be allowed entry into Jamaica. Additionally, all Jamaican citizens and permanent residents who have visited the countries listed within the last 14 days will be allowed entry. However, they will be subject to mandatory state-supervised quarantine for no less than 14 days. The Health and Wellness Ministry is working towards ending AIDS in Jamaica. Acting Senior Medical Officer in the HIV/STI/TB unit in the ministry, Dr. Alicia Rob Allen, says all persons who are living with HIV have access to care and medication.
Just of those, that 15,000 population, there are persons who are on antiretrovirals. And antiretrovirals are medications that are used basically to ensure that persons who have HIV will have a decreased viral load, which makes them less susceptible to progressing to AIDS and also contracting any other illnesses which would make them more likely succumb to death. So once persons are on antiretrovirals, namely first, second, or third line drugs, you would see that they can live a normal life just like all of us.
She says in addition to universal access to treatment for persons living with AIDS, another modality of prevention has been added to the ministry's offerings.
So in terms of our prevention program, we have commenced as a country or PrEP program, which is pre-exposure prophylaxis, not to be confused with PEP. So pre-exposure prophylaxis allows persons who are at high risk based on their sexual profile or their sexual behavior to access antiretrovirals to prevent transmission of HIV from their sexual partners. Additionally, it also allows persons who are in relationships with other persons who are positive, who are looking to have children, to decrease the possibility of them transmitting HIV to their partner, one, and two, also to their unborn child if they desire to have a child in that relationship.
Mrs. Rob Allen says of the 32,000 persons that are estimated by UNAIDS to be living with HIV in Jamaica, just under 50% of them, 15,000, are linked to care, meaning that they are receiving care at a treatment site. She was speaking at a recent JIS think tank. A Good Ganja Sense website has been launched to give access to fact-based information about the marijuana plant and serves as a tool to build awareness about its uses and effects. State Minister in the Health Ministry, Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn, last Thursday said the website is part of the National Council on Drug Abuse's Good Ganja Sense public education campaign, aimed at increasing ganja literacy among Jamaicans.
The importance of having accurate information means that people can make better, informed decisions to improve their quality of life and their health outcomes. It may be accurate to say that Jamaica has a bittersweet history with ganja, bitter as many have fallen prey to the harms associated with its misuse. And I know some of us hear of things happening to people who have misused ganja. Yet sweet because of the medicinal benefits to be derived. And we've also seen where our scientists here in Jamaica have done some marvelous things with cannabis.
The NCDA, through its Good Ganja Sense campaign, has produced educational materials and is spearheading a campaign in all media, stimulating dialogue on the issue.
It involves helping Jamaicans distinguish between decriminalization and legalization of ganja to move forward, which is what we want, to the medical cannabis industry. And as I said, the world is taking off and we are still somewhere here and there above us. We need to catch up. It is also attempts to clear up the potential benefits of ganja under medical use and to also raise awareness about its harms.
You should check out the website at goodganjasense.org. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says that Jamaica will be targeting 3 million cruise ship visitors by 2025. He made this declaration last Thursday at Jamaica's Vacations Limited Executive Management and Board Retreat, hosted at Royalton Blue Waters in Trelawney. The welcomed news comes amid reports that the cruise sub-sector, which reopened in August, has been steadily growing. The Planning Institute of Jamaica has reported that cruise passengers totaled 8,379 from 5 ships for the months of August to September, relative to none during the corresponding period in 2020. JAMVAC is a public body of the Ministry of Tourism and was founded in 1978. It oversees the ministry's airlift and cruise portfolios. JAMVAC is governed by a board of directors chaired by Bertram Wright, and the current executive director is Joy Roberts. Jamaicans of Indian descent recently celebrated the Constitution Day of India. Constitution Day is designed to promote constitutional values among citizens. As part of the Constitution Day celebrations, India's High Commissioner to Jamaica addressed the distinguished gathering. Marlon Samuels filed this report on India's Constitution Day.
The Constitution of India was adopted in 1949. It came into effect in January 1950, after India gained independence from the British. It is reportedly the longest written constitution of any country. It sets out, among other things, the powers and duties of government institutions, as well as the fundamental rights and duties of citizens. India's High Commissioner to Jamaica led the Constitution Day celebrations from the High Commission in Kingston.
Today, as constitutionalism has become as important an issue as that of good governance, especially in young democracies, Government of India has given an undivided attention to ensuring that our government is not a mere government with a constitution, but a government established according to a constitution. A government which acts according to the constitution, a government in which the constitution is a doctrine that governs the legitimacy of its own actions. In essence, like water, flows to the lowest point and touches the lives of the commonest people. When India got independence in 1947, 59% of our population was living below poverty lines. Today, with the efforts of government after government, it has been reduced to 19%. While the fight is far from over, efforts to achieve the ideals provisioned in our constitution have yielded fruits. And the Indian government is determined to continue these efforts till what Mahatma Gandhi's ideals, that all tears from the eyes of its people, especially of those in the lowest strata of our society, are wiped away.
Adherence to constitutionalism is a commitment to democracy, to the provision of fundamental rights and freedoms, and to good social order. Constitutionalism undoubtedly lays the foundation for a unified society. And I pause when I say this because I feel obliged this afternoon to make the point that a cohesive society need not be a homogeneous society. For as we know, true constitutionalism makes room for divergent personal, political, and religious views and expressions. So once again, I congratulate the people of the Republic of India on the commemoration of Constitution Day. I thank you, Your Excellency, for including the Parliament of Jamaica in your celebrations. If there were any thoughts that I would want to take from this celebration, it would be that while constitutionalism is key to good governance, equally important must be a willingness by all of us to fight against injustice at the community level and at the national level, and even where the opportunity presents itself at global levels. I urge us all this evening to take a leaf from Dr. Mbedika's book and speak out against injustice wherever we find it.
For the news on PBCJ, I am Marlon Samuels.
We now turn to the world of business. In today's report, Gabriel Thompson provides daily updates on both local and international market movements. Also, we take a closer look at recent news from Tax Administration Jamaica of their inability to collect road traffic fines at both their branches and on their online platforms.
Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ says it is unable to collect payments for traffic ticket fines at a tax office or via its online system. It says this challenge is as a result of the finalized list of traffic offence codes not yet being provided to the Revenue Authority to effect changes to its systems to enable collection of the fines as defined by the recent change to the applicable law. The tax authority says the respective agencies are working to address this issue as quickly as possible. This means that traffic ticket fines as defined by legislation presented at a tax office or attempted to be paid online will not be accepted or processed, and persons are urged not to visit the tax offices or attempt to make payments online. Persons falling into this category are being advised to visit the courts or to contact the Ministry of National Security to be further guided. In a statement, the TAJ said it will continue to work with its partners who are working to have the problem resolved in the shortest possible time. For further information, persons may call the Tax Administration Customer Care Center at 888-TAX-HELP, 888-829-4357, or visit the website at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm. In foreign exchange trading for Friday, November 26, the US dollar sold for an average $156.91. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $122.67. The pound sterling traded for $207.45, and the euro sold for an average $180.08. In Friday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index advanced by 547 points to close at under 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 86 stocks, of which 35 advanced, 38 declined, and 13 traded firm. The Junior Market Index advanced by 16 points to close at over 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for 1834 Investments Limited, Access Financial Services Limited, and Berger Paints Jamaica Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, and Barita Investments Limited. Trading firm were Caribbean Producers Jamaica Limited, Epley 7.5% preference shares, and iCreate Limited ordinary shares. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited was the volume leader with over 2.9 million units, followed by Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with over 1.7 million units, and Indus Pharma Jamaica Limited ordinary shares with over 1.3 million units. In market data for oil, the commodity rebounded by almost 5% on Monday to $76 a barrel, as some investors viewed Friday's slump in oil and financial markets on concern about the Omicron coronavirus variant as overdone. The World Health Organization has said it could take weeks to understand the variant severity, although a South African doctor who has treated cases said symptoms so far seemed to be mild. Brent crude was $3.24 or 4.5% higher at $75.96 a barrel after sliding $9.50 on Friday. West Texas Intermediate crude was up $3.12 or 4.6% at $71.27 a barrel, having tumbled $10.24 in the previous session. And with that, we close this Monday edition of the Business Report Inside the News on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson. Pleasant viewing.
In regional news, we begin with the results of internal elections in the Bahamas. Now that he has been elected leader of the Free National Movement, Michael Pintard says he has a number of things to get done. At the top of that list is ensuring that every voice is heard and the people's wishes are represented. Kyle Walkin has the story.
With the party's convention now behind him, F&M leader Michael Pintard says he has a lot of work ahead of him.
We intend to move throughout the Family Islands, every constituency, talking to F&Ms who stayed at home, those that have felt marginalized, and to hear what their concerns are and to respond to them. Secondly, we intend to convene a conclave immediately after the February convention to make sure that we're able to share the post-mortem so that we can go beyond the anecdotal evidence that we have in terms of what went wrong. We are going to commission the studies to be done, which would be ready in time for February. We'll discuss that post-mortem.
But he said after a crushing defeat at the polls and a lot of contention surrounding the issue of leadership, there is obvious healing that needs to take place within the party.
There's a need for healing. Healing after this contest, healing after the election, and so we're going to facilitate workshops so that those members of our organization who need really to be healed can come together. We believe that this is a human business.
While unifying the party is at the top of his list, Pintard says the needs of the people are priority as well.
Members of our team are functioning as a cohesive body. We are going to do the work that we have historically done as F&Ms in the various constituencies. And so one of the things we are going to do is really talk about the things that are important to Bahamians. Education, making sure that they have access to education from preschool to university. Secondly, addressing the immigration issue in a way that we do not disenfranchise Bahamians, but at the same time we have a human approach to dealing with others that have violated our sovereignty. To deal with the energy question. Right now as we speak, many Bahamians, light or water is off. We have to remedy those things.
Pintard was elected leader of the party 3-1 yesterday. He said he's focused on ensuring the wants and needs of the Bahamian people is priority.
I feel hopeful. I feel that those challenges that many of our supporters face, we're going to have a chance as a group to address those challenges. And again, our supporters need to know that there are persons who are fighting for them when they are being discriminated against. And I intend to stand in the gap along with our team to stand in the gap for them. And I'm hopeful for the country because I believe Bahamians want effective representation in the House and not just from the government side.
Now, as for the party's team of senators, which goes based on the appointment of opposition leader, which will be Pintard, the F&M leader was mum on what he'll do.
I have no comments on the senatorial appointments. We're going to have a discussion as a family, and then we'll address that issue publicly.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Walkin.
In sports, we tee off with golf, William Knibbs and Jody Munn-Barrow copped the top trophies in the 26th staging of the Alliance Buccaneers Memorial Golf Tournament at the Caymanas Golf Club. It was Alliance Investment Management's 14th consecutive year of sponsorship of the event. 102 golfers from across the island participated in the recent event. William Knibbs, the 2019 winner, who scored a combined total of 7 over par 151, took the overall trophy ahead of Dr. Mark Nunham. The current president of the Jamaica Golf Association, Munn-Barrow, owned the ladies section with scores of 3 over par 75 and even par 72 on day 1 and 2 respectively, for a total score of 147. This gave her the best gross score of all the golfers who competed in the tournament. Other winners include Diane Hudson, Quinton Hughes, Sam, Clive Newman, and former JGA president Gordon Hutchinson topped the men super senior 13 to 24 category with a total score of 176. Immediate past president of JGA, Peter Chin, who competed in the tournament and is also CEO of title sponsor Alliance Investment Management, was happy to continue its sponsorship of the tournament.
We had a very good turnout. We have about 100 golfers playing this year. As you said, COVID affected, because normally we have like 120, but we are happy. We had the sponsors on board, and it's for a very worthy cause. The Lost Street Trade Training Center, and the event was very successful, and we'll be able to donate $1 million to the Trade Training Center this year.
We step into the ring with boxing. Jamaica's 2020 Olympic heavyweight boxer Ricardo Big 12 Brown turned professional recently after finalizing contractual arrangements with United Boxing Promotions in Canada, where he now resides. Tyler Buxton of United Boxing Promotions was pleased to announce the signing of the 6'7" Ricardo Brown. According to Buxton, Brown is a boxer who is brimming with potential and is ready to challenge the boxers in ever-popular heavyweight division. Brown qualified for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics to become Jamaica's newest Olympic boxer and the first since 1996. After a decorated amateur campaign, the Pan Am Games bronze medalist is keen to start the next chapter of his boxing career. Brown was born and raised in Spanish Town, Jamaica, where he was introduced to boxing at an early age. He is now training and fighting in Canada, where he's conditioned by Jamaican trainer Derith Fraser. In other news, the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup Qualifier 2021 in Zimbabwe was abandoned over concerns of the new Omicron variant. Minister of Health for Trinidad and Tobago, Terence Dale Singh, says issues related to new COVID-19 restrictions and their impact on sports are already engaging the attention of government agencies. Here's Jovan Ravello with the details.
In keeping with tournament rules, cricket's world governing body has decided the final 3 slots using team rankings. Bangladesh, Pakistan and the Windies will now progress to the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup in New Zealand, with Sri Lanka and Ireland occupying the other slots for the 2022-2025 cycle of the ICC Women's Championship. And the Health Minister assures that government is seeking the interest of returning athletes.
The teams, the Trinidadians returning here, we will work with their respective agencies. They are on national duty to see what arrangements that can be made for them. And same thing will apply to other teams. We will work closely with the Ministry of Sport and their governing bodies to see what arrangements they can make. But understand, the Omicron poses a new threat to Trinidad and Tobago and to the world, and we have to respond and balance all of these things.
Jovan Ravello, TTT Sport.
And that's all we have for you today. Thanks so much for making it PBCJ. We are the People's Station.